Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. There's a question: is it haram to support or promote content that includes uncovered women if the cause itself is good? So these are sensitive matters, right? These are sensitive matters. There's a fundamental difference between someone who's uncovered and things that are lewd and corrupt, right? Anyone would discern the difference between a woman's head being uncovered and her being, you know, uh, in in sexually provocative dress or postures. So we, the fahsha, right? The vile content has no cause. There's naked women for Palestine are naked women, right? So you can't just say, well, the cause is good, so I'm going to share some images of protests of naked men and women for Palestine, right? So you can't do that, right? There's other ways to promote the same cause, right? Because this goes into what's considered the fahsha and the munkar. There's a difference between that and something that is not correct, but it's not lewd, right? So if the content is, the content and the values behind it, what is being promoted is sound, but for example, the presenter of the TV, of the documentary, whatever, is uncovered, then one must still hate that matter for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is from the perfection of faith to love for what is beloved to Allah and to hate what is hated by Allah. And the pleasure and displeasure of Allah is in accordance with His command and His prohibition. Right? So, there's a documentary and the journalist that we hate that matter and we avoid, and we look with modesty, with dignity. We avoid looking unnecessarily. So, this would not be impermissible. However, at the same time, most content online is fluff. Most content online is fluff. Right? Most documentaries, for example, be a thinking person and read. I've done it many, many times. There's a whole documentary about something. If you say, okay, what is the summary of what's being said? And very often, filmmaking brings in all kinds of both visual effects and sound effects to move you in emotionally, both not just at the conscious level, but at the subconscious level. So you're not thinking just with your active, rational mind. And the human being's honor is their religion and their intellect. So we should, in this age of the great deceiver, right? This is a Dajjalic age, right? Of much corruption. إِنَّهُ مَنْ يَعِشْ مِنْكُمْ فَسَيَرَى اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever of you lives on will see much change. Right? And he told us to hold fast to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals of our being honored beings is our religion and reason. So, there are voices of good and principle, etc. But you also have to be careful that, there's some online activism that may be of consequence, but do things that are of real consequence. There's a very famous, reel from Pakistan. Someone said, will I get to Jannah if I share good religious content online? So the response was, well, your cell phone will get to Jannah, but in order for you to get to Jannah, you'll actually have to act on the good that you share. Right? So, very often we share about, children are suffering, this, people know, right? So is this making a difference? There are some things that make a difference. Other things, we're just chatting with each other, just telling our friends what they already know. So we need to think how we channel our energy to what really matters. Right? to what really matters. Um, and keep away from things that are at variance with our values. Wallahu subhanahu wa ta'ala alam.
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله